start with that Ashwini Vaishnaw tweet saying that he's switching to Zoho Work Suite.
Definitely, we are very happy, and after 20 years getting recognized in India, right? So that's a really proud moment.
We're in an AI era, and you take over at a time when once again the obituaries are being written about SaaS.
We are looking at AI as an enabler, and with AI, it is going to be like we were only consuming. Now everybody is going to become a creator.
You know, at the heart of Zoho is this culture of innovation, experimentation. One of the reasons why you choose not to go public. No temptation at all as you see companies listing to go to the public markets at all?
No, definitely no, right? Because
why? Do you think it will stifle your ability to innovate and experiment?
we want to focus on building the talent pool, investing in R&D, right? So experimenting, we enjoy the process of building. We are not obsessed about, what is our growth? So that's why we have organically grown all the products. Every product is built from the ground up. We are able to do all this because we don't have those pressures.
Zoho runs on Zoho.
Zoho runs on Zoho, right? All our employees say every day we use only Zoho.
There seems to be a lot of pressure on Indian IT companies to go out there and do acquisitions in the AI space specifically, because the feeling is the first mover will get the advantage, that it may in fact end up being a winner-takes-all market.
At least from our own existence and success, you can see winner have never taken all. So we don't over-promise, we want under-promise and over-deliver.
What has been some of the learnings from you on both the ability to take risks, to place big bets, but also anticipate change?
Whenever we see some mistakes, we never, punish those mistakes. The accountability should be only in terms of what the effort they are putting in.
I remember you said that you don't compete for talent. Your effort is to create talent.
If you look at the Zoho Schools experiment itself, from the beginning, so we used to hire, freshers. And then we used to have these incubation programs because we accept the fact that, in a 1 hour interview, you can't find out who is right, who is good. The first batch student who attended the Zoho Schools is now heading our Saudi Arabia operation.
What has been the biggest learning from Sridhar Vembu?
The whole management style. How much giving autonomy to people end up in, creating so much more.
One thing you haven't learned from him, though, is being on social media.
I prefer to be a private person.
Sometimes him being very active could get in the way of the company as well.
Being private, yes, we do get that freedom too.
It insulates you. Hello and welcome to Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shereen Bhan. We're here at the Chennai headquarters of Zoho. It is a company that has its roots very firmly in India, but it also follows what it calls a transnational-local model. It currently operates across 100 plus countries in the world, revenues of over $1 billion, profitable, and of course has always been bootstrapped with no plans to go public. What's interesting is that the IT minister, Ashwini Vaishnaw, tweeted saying that he is now switching to Zoho's Work Suite in a bid to promote Swadeshi. Joining us now to talk about Zoho's journey from here over the next few years is its new CEO, a man who took over as CEO earlier this year, but someone who's been part of the Zoho story as long as it has existed. He joined the company in 1996 when he was all of 20. Mani, many thanks for joining us here on Young Turks Reloaded. It's great to have you here, and it's great to be here at the Zoho office.
Thank you, Shereen. Thanks for coming.
You know, I want to start with that Ashwini Vaishnaw tweet saying that he's switching to Zoho Work Suite, and this is his call to everyone to promote Swadeshi, so to speak. How does that make you feel? What went on in your mind when you saw that tweet coming out?
Definitely, we are very happy and we are very delighted because it's been Zoho Office Suite is one of the first products we started in the cloud. So Zoho Writer was one of the world's first online word processor we launched, and after 20 years seeing that getting recognized in India, right? So that's a really proud moment for us.
Is it a bittersweet moment though,
Yes.
that it's taken 20 years for you to be recognized in India?
I won't say that way, but because the whole market also have saturated in that space. That means, right? So it's it's a part of a everyday use tool. So we know, like, right, so it is going to take that long time because work competing with the giants is not easy. So that means we know when we started Zoho Writer, it is going to be a 20-year, 30-year journey, and we are here now.
Well, you are certainly here, but let's talk about the journey and let's talk about taking on the giants in your words. What do you believe will be the unique advantages that you can leverage to take on the big boys? You're not just operating in India. In fact, India is your second largest market, growing at a fast clip at over 30%. But your largest market is actually outside of India. You have data centers in 16 other countries. So you may be Swadeshi in your parentage, but your aspiration is global.
Yes, exactly, right? So we want to really say, that's why the transnational localism we are doing. So we do the product development here. We have all the customer facing and the last mile. We have a huge partner network with 2,000 partners worldwide. So we have a good ecosystem. So we serve the ecosystem and we have the local teams there and local partners there who actually implement the software for the local businesses.
So do you find yourself less vulnerable on account of this transnational local model that you've adopted to the global challenges that we're seeing today? To, for instance, this H-1B visa change. How much does that impact you, if at all?
So see, we don't see a huge impact in terms of our own numbers because we have, as I said, the transnational localism where we do have local people in every location we have and it's all customer facing. So in that sense, we don't see a big impact for us. But for India in future, we see it as a positive thing where a lot of talent will stay and a lot of innovations will happen and a lot of local problems needs local solution. That means, indigenous solutions. And I think that will evolve over the period of time if more and more people start to work on those problems.
So do you believe that you could draw back some of that talent, that Zoho could become the home to the talent that would have otherwise been looking at going outside?
Yes, definitely, yeah. So some of those, because it's based on what projects we work on. So if there is an interest, definitely we are looking for tapping some of those talent. So,
we're in an AI era and you take over at a time when once again the obituaries are being written about SaaS. Everyone's saying whether SaaS is dead or not. So is this going to be a trial by fire for you? Is that the reason why Sridhar decided to become chief scientist and hand over to you?
No, see, we used to joke it inside, but then definitely, so we are looking at, AI as an enabler. So if you look at, the whole software industry itself, starting from mainframe to PC, with internet and mobile, the adoption have increased drastically. That means now everybody consumes software. It was not true in PC era, and it was not true at all in mainframe era. And with AI, it is going to be we were only consuming. Now everybody is going to become a creator. So we are already seeing so video creation, content creation, even software creation. The vibe coding is there. So so that means we are going to have we are giving enormous power to people. So in terms of enabling them to create more. And
so you're saying tech adoption will be even more accelerated.
Exactly, So because there are so many different problems where tech is not there yet. So in all those places, tech is going to come. So see, when internet came, nobody have seen what it can open up. Same way when mobile came, on that day, nobody knows what the smartphone will unleash on us,
Yeah.
So today, from ordering food to taking a cab, so everything is through the mobile. Same way, it's too early for, so to know, what all things...
What AI can do.
Yeah. But we are very positive that it's going to actually accelerate the adoption.
Speaking of accelerating adoption and speaking of staying in the AI race and in the AI game, you launched Zia, which is your own version of the LLM models. And I come back to the point that what is going to be the moat? Because look at what the big tech companies are doing. I mean, hundreds of billions of dollars going into AI development, developing LLMs and so on and so forth. So what will be the moat for companies like yours in an environment like that?
See, the way we are looking at it is we want to first call the right size the problem. That means we want to choose an area which is a niche, that is solving it for the business problem. So that's why Zia LLM is only for businesses, not for the consumer.
Correct.
So because we want to take the broader problem, then that kind of an investment is required. But once we narrow down on the problem, then our investment also comes down. And it also gives us the opportunity to learn by doing because the problem in business is very different from the consumer problem. Because the business data lies within the data center. It's the same with search. When search came, the consumer search was very powerful. But within a business, the search was broken. The reason is because the tech required is very different. The data availability there, right? So all those. The same is what we see in the AI too. So that means that's why we narrowed on a problem which doesn't take that investment, but still.
But what have you invested so far on getting Zia out into the market?
So we have more than $20 million we invested in the hardware and others, and we are still ramping up our investment, but definitely not at the likes of the consumer world.
Yeah.
But we are whatever is required for solving our business customers' problem, scaling for our business customers. So whatever use cases we try to solve with Zia LLM, so how much it takes to scale that, we are investing to ensure that we scale to our businesses.
And what are the early indicators in terms of adoption? Because you've recently launched, so what are you picking from your enterprise customers in terms of how they're using it, what they're using it for, what the adoption rate is? I know it's too early to talk about.
See, if you look at our own AI story, Zia LLM is the recent launch, but then we have been investing on AI from last 10 years. And even before Gen AI, we have been investing on anomaly detection, prediction, and others. And overall, if you look at, we have more than 16 billion API calls that happens every year for our different AI functionalities across our products. And Zia LLM itself is open for a very select users where we are still trialing on the perfecting the model and then making sure that so it scales. So we are still in the early phase of opening it up for all the customers. And we are only solving some of the use cases now as we grow, because we have right-sized the model.
Yeah.
So because all that we are looking for is a cost efficiency and power efficiency. So that means how do we offer the same functionality at a fraction of the cost? So in our case, we give all the options to the customers. So we have hosted some of the open source models. The customers will have that option. Then the public LLMs will be there. They have the option. We have the MCP support where you can build the agent in any public service, and then you can consume our data through the APIs. So that support is there. So that means we give all these options to the customer, and Zia LLM is going to be one of the options. And more, some of the use cases we will make Zia LLM as a default. Once we see that, the accuracy is there predominantly, then we want to actually open that as a default.
At the heart of Zoho is this culture of innovation, experimentation. One of the reasons why you choose not to go public, and that continues to be the case. No temptation at all as you see companies listing to go to the public markets at all?
No, definitely no. Right? Because
why? Do you think it will stifle your ability to innovate and experiment?
See, the whole, if you look at the tech, right, you can see that transition where it is every 3 years is changing, and the focus, we want to focus on building the talent pool, investing in R&D, right? So experimenting, we enjoy the process of building. And that means we are not obsessed about, what is our growth? And we don't have the pressure to do the financial engineering. That means, we don't have to acquire companies to grow, show growth. So that's why we have organically grown all the products. Every product is built from the ground up. Every product is built on the same technology stack. We are able to do all this because we don't have those pressure. Once we get into the pressure, then unconsciously you will start to do things that you may not be doing. Right?
But you have a strong enough balance sheet. I mean, you're profitable, and your profits in excess of 2,000 crores, the last reported numbers. So, why the hesitation then to take that risk and also build for not just for your customers or enterprises, but also for Indian investors, India's retail shareholders as well?
We focus on the long term, and as I said, our investments towards R&D is high, and we want to keep it that way. And somehow, right, we feel keeping it this way, focusing only on customers. Because, right, say we believe that business is about equal exchange of values. And today we add some value to the customer pay us. So it's a very direct transaction, right? So that means between customers and us. And adding one more shareholder, right? So then where will we be focusing on, right? So that we actually, at least for us, we feel it shifts our focus, it will shift our focus. And for now we want to, because there are a lot of problems we have identified to solve with our R&D investment, and we want to focus on that.
You know, one of the question marks across industry has been India Inc.'s ability to spend on R&D, India Inc.'s ability to back using its own capital innovation. And the criticism has been that industry is constantly looking at the government that, give us tax sweeteners, give us incentives to do more as far as R&D is concerned. What has been the thinking within Zoho, for instance, as far as investing in innovation, backing R&D with big ticket investments is concerned? Over the last 30 years, for instance, give me a ballpark number of how much you've spent on R&D. Annually, how much do you spend on R&D?
Annually, we spend around 35%. See, let's take Zoho. So today we have 16 data centers. We have, right, say, but then if you look at Zoho itself, it started with, say, maybe 10-member team building a word processor with a small set of servers, right? Say, then as we keep generating revenue, growing, right? So we reinvest on that. So that means, right, it's a very organic way of investing back. And that means the cumulative investment will be much higher, but then the initial investment don't have to be that higher. If you are committed to actually reinvest on it, right? So still we keep reinvesting on, right? Say some of our profit back into newer products, newer markets, newer technologies. So, and see, the whole R&D itself, even for some of the complex technology, won't take a lot of investment. It just because, especially in software, because it's all that it requires is a very strong, committed, right, passionate engineers who are interested to solve that problem.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it doesn't require a huge investment on that scale. But then what parameter you want to control? That means, do you want to innovate within 3 years and then pour whatever you want, or you give yourself a good amount of time and then you do it organically? So we feel by doing it organically, we also nurture the talent. So because some things needs a learning. So at least in Zoho experience, we have built our own messaging system. We have built our own audio video capabilities. We have built our own authentication and authorization frameworks.
And you told me Zoho runs on Zoho.
Zoho runs on Zoho, right? All our employees say every day we use only Zoho. So no other tool, right? Our meetings happen on Zoho, our video, audio, everything. So our spreadsheet runs on Zoho, our presentations runs on Zoho. We do 28 global events, Zoho Leaks across the world, and everything runs on Backstage. And every presentation is done on Zoho Show. So that means, right, so, and it all didn't happen with, say, in the first year or 3 years. So it's and it also gives us the time to learn, because we are not, going and hiring people who have done it and then rebuilding things. So we actually, right, we want to keep it organically where we create the talent. So even with AI, so we want to create the talent. We want to identify people who have the ability to learn and who are willing to learn. And then we want to actually challenge them with the problems and then allow them to build things that solves the customer problem.
It's interesting that you say that you want to build everything ground up, and it's as much about learning as it is about acquiring talent necessarily, or acquiring technology, or acquiring capability. At this point in time, there seems to be a lot of pressure on Indian IT companies to go out there and do acquisitions in the AI space specifically, because the feeling is that the first mover will get the advantage, that it may in fact end up being a winner-takes-all market. You don't believe that's the case?
We, at least from our own existence and success, you can see winner have never taken all, right? So even the office suite that IT minister have tweeted, so we have an opportunity. Because we sell it as part of our Zoho One bundle, which is used by 50,000 customers. And there is a quite significant usage of our Office suite by those customers. It goes bundled with the offering and then they use it as part of it. Because we are here to solve the entire business problem. That means running a business comes with its own problems. So IT has its own problem. We have Mani Engine division which solves the IT problem. There are like say 40 products there which solves every problem of the IT. And then we have Zoho division which solves the entire business problems. And every market there are established vendors. So at least we don't believe that the winners take all, because these markets are evolving, and as long as you offer a very credible offering, and then you have you have an edge over the competition, be it on the user experience or on the performance or on the price, so you get an opportunity.
So would it be fair then to assume that acquisitions will not be, part of the strategy for growth going forward?
See, definitely it's not as part of the strategy, it's not there. But I wouldn't say we'll never do it, because that's
never say never.
Never say never. So, but so far all the products, if you look at, so we have built ground up, and our focus also has been how do we nurture the talent and build the talent? Because there is no ecosystem here. When we started in 1996, so there is no product ecosystem. So then how do you build a product ecosystem? So that means you have to do mistakes to learn. So that means somebody has to allow them to do mistakes. Right? Somebody has to try and fail and then learn what doesn't work and then redo and then learn it. So that's how we have done, our frameworks, our platforms, and so that's how we want to keep it. And now we have a good leadership strength, and so we are able to for example, Zia LLM is one example, right? So all the cumulative knowledge that we have gained over the years, we are able to actually rapidly move in some of these areas.
Since we're talking about leadership, let's talk about your role as CEO and what you now intend to prioritize, and how different you believe you're likely to be from Mani Vembu in terms of both your management style but also your aspiration for the company. I understand that one of your priorities is to now move beyond small and medium businesses as your universe that you service. So what's the progress that you've made on that? How aggressively do you intend to chase after the non-SMB market?
Yeah, see, the first on the leadership change. So see, we have been here for 25 years, everyone. So that means at leadership we all know each other, and from the beginning we have been a very decentralized company. That means there is so nothing is centralized. Almost everything is decentralized. So in that way, the transition is actually very easy. So you just, so maybe one of the, some additional responsibilities come, but then majority it's all, same, because there are leaders across the board.
Was there a conversation before you actually were elevated to CEO on when this transition would happen? I mean, or was it something that happened kind of organically? I mean,
here generally, it's all never happened with a big plan or it's all suddenly Sridhar decided when he started spending more on AI and so he started looking at the market, and then he said he wants to move, and then he made the announcement, so it's all very maybe 1 week, 2 weeks time frame.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you weren't given a heads up, so to speak.
No heads up. Yeah. None of us. So even Rajesh leads our Mani Engine, he didn't get their heads up. Shailesh leads the group, he didn't get the heads up. So it's all and that's so majority of even new market we experiment. So we suddenly we decide and then we experiment, and then we will decide the long-term opportunity in that market.
So what has it been like now this past year, almost coming to be a year of you as CEO, and as I pointed out, what do you now intend to prioritize?
Yeah, so as I said, from product we are moving towards a platform, building the ecosystem and focusing on the larger customers. So if you look at our success in India, it's been phenomenal, where large customer growth is the highest. So we have good customer base, UBA as a customer, Force Motor as a customer. In both BFSI and auto DMS space, we are winning more and more larger customers. In manufacturing, we are winning more larger customers. So in that sense, this whole India success, we are trying to replicate in other markets. So what worked here, what doesn't work here. So we learned some of these here, and then we are now trying to go and replicate in other markets. And in terms of our the what I prioritize is how do we make it more sustainable growth? That means in terms of how do we make it organic too? So rather than like say trying to create, because see it's in a business software, it's also a sort of credibility game. So that means you have to win the credibility of a customer, especially in large customers. So they say somebody is betting their career on us, right? So the decisions, because it's not the money that is a problem there, it's the timeline that is a problem. It's the credibility that's a problem. That means we have to make sure that we win the trust and credibility. So once we do that, like how in SMB it happened, the word of mouth will spread, and I'm sure we can have an organic growth there too. But until then, we want to be very careful in terms of acquiring customers. We want to be very, so wherever we have the strength, we want to make sure that we sell on our strength. So we don't over-promise. We want under-promise and over-deliver. So that's the strategy we follow.
So, India growing at over 30%, your second largest market. What's the headroom for growth that you see given the digital adoption that we're seeing, also given the growth both in the SMB space as well as the large enterprise space?
See, that's what we have around 200,000 customers in India now, right? So both SMB and and we continue to see this increasing, right? The adoption increasing in India, and at least for the next decade, we see that this acceleration will continue because of all the digitization that is happening. And as I said, as AI democratize more, like how SaaS has democratized to an extent, AI is going to accelerate this democratization. And that means there is going to be a lot more creators. And how do we, So we enable them. How do we, become a preferred tool or platform for them, So that's where we are focusing on. And I'm sure, India being the largest, because most of the even consumer products, you can see India as being the largest population adoption happens in India because of the sheer volume of population we have.
Yeah.
And that means we are going to have much larger creators in the world. So that's that's where we are investing heavily on this and the platform market, because we know that the acceleration and democratization is happening, and how do we be there?
Right. It's interesting. You talk about going from product to platform, and that's been the transition that you're on. But many people won't remember that you actually have your origins in platform.
Yes.
When Zoho started, when you were supplying to telecom companies and you were a vendor to telecom equipment providers.
Yes.
This, again, I come back to the debate that rages on constantly. How does India transition to becoming a product nation? And now, as you're saying, transition to a platform nation as well. From your experience and your learnings, what are the key things that are missing today or that we need to prioritize, not just from the learnings of Zoho, but at an industry level?
See, the idea of R&D is long term. That means, so we need to have a commitment of minimum 5 to 10 years in terms of our planning. So that means, so there is going to be a lot of failures, there is going to be a lot of mistakes. So it's not a defined path. So there are going to be setbacks. For example, for us, we started as a telecom, in the telecom space, and the market burst in early 2000. And so then we transitioned into newer markets. So the transition is not easy, It's actually, it requires a lot of change in our, mindset, and you have to really relook, because you are starting from scratch in a new market.
Yeah.
Right? So same way, so there will be a lot of resets that will happen whenever you build a product, because product is generally, it comes with its own risks. So the product market fit has to happen. Even if you build a great product, if the market outside is not there, in telecom days, we had a very, very good platform. So we had a platform that is really scalable, and so it was used by almost every large equipment vendors. But then the market outside is gone. So we don't control that.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing in product. So today some market will be there, which will be growing. So maybe next year that market might be shrinking. So we never know. So it is true for every vendor.
Yeah.
So that means we have to accept those realities of the product market, where you have to check the product market fit. You have to accept that if the market itself is changing, then we have to adapt to the change.
So how do you create then that culture of taking risks, but also anticipating change? What has been some of the learnings from you on both the ability to take risks, to place big bets, but also anticipate change?
See, from the beginning, one thing we haven't done is whenever we see some mistakes, we never, right, say punish those mistakes. So that means, right, we try to tolerate those, right, as part of the learning. So the only thing we want to make sure is that mistake is not shipping to the customer. So the failure, same way, right? So if something fails, we want to look at, say, what we learned from that. So rather than like say, because once you make a failure a big announcement, then nobody is going to take that next step in terms of. So that means if once you create that atmosphere of, oh, you can experiment, you can fail, there is nothing wrong in doing the experiment, or not all experiments have to succeed. So, right? So once you create that environment, it's only like say how much effort we have put, how hard we tried.
Yeah.
So once you make those as the criteria or the, right, say things that you look for, then people are more open to try, because everyone wants to try, everyone wants to take risk.
And everyone wants to succeed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So to succeed, they want to take risk. But then once we go and say, make them very accountable for every failure, then it's going to be, right? So, and there should be accountability, but the accountability should be only in terms of what the effort they are putting in. Say if the effort is lacking, then they are accountable. But if the market outside is not there, then they are not accountable for it.
Yeah.
So nobody can predict. So that, in terms of experimenting, that helps us. In terms of anticipating change, so maybe because we have seen that in telecom, so that's all ingrained in our leadership, where we know, like say, nothing is permanent. So everything keeps changing. There is nothing which is certain. So you can't
And nothing
be 100%.
that you can take for granted.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So there is nothing which is 100% certain. So we always look for, what is that's going to come and change this? So what?
But is the pace of change significantly different now?
Yes, exactly, right? It's at least for us, being a cloud native company in Zoho, we are seeing that, say, in 2005, the cloud SaaS boom happened, then the mobile came, right? So it's a constant change. Then in products become platforms, then, right, you have the AI now. So that means there is a constant change that is happening. And see, I think in every tech, it's true. Technology, like say, every 3 years you have to graduate yourself to be ready for the next tech. Right? So, and
where are we in that 3-year cycle today?
See, in AI, right? Say we are in the early, I would say the first year of
year?
Yeah, especially in the business cases. So now we have to see how it goes, and then surely there is going to be a lot of other changes that is going to come.
I remember you said that you don't compete for talent. Your effort is to create talent. And this goes back to what you've tried to do with the Zoho schools. It's been 20 years for Zoho schools as well. And I believe 15% of your workforce here in Chennai comes from the Zoho schools. Yes. Take me through that experiment, which is now been scaled to quite an extent, and how that's worked for you. How do you look at talent? I mean, today you talk about the talent wars in the valley. You see jaw-dropping numbers being paid for AI professionals and AI talent. How do you look at the talent piece today?
See, if you look at the Zoho Schools experiment itself, says from the beginning, so we used to hire, like say, freshers, and then we used to hire from, like, right?
You were virtually a fresher when you
exactly.
joined.
Yeah. So I joined, and then all the hiring almost. And then we used to have these incubation programs where, because we accept the fact that, in a 1 hour interview, you can't find out who is right, say who is good. Maybe we can evaluate their communication skills, but not the real skills, right? So that means we said, somebody who hadn't done, right, we are doubtful, then why can't we put them into incubation, and then we see. And then we saw that the results were very good. That means, right, so they were able to do more. And the same, then we thought, then why go to a college graduate? Why don't we do it at 12th standard? And we also know, like, right, see, there are a lot of government colleges where there are a lot of students, bright students, who are not having an opportunity. They don't even know that these opportunities exist. So we actually picked the first batch. We picked 4 or 5 students, we train them. So that's you see, every experiment we start small because we want to learn, do all the mistakes on a small batch before we scale. And then the first batch student who attended the Zoho schools is now heading our Saudi Arabia operations. Right? So, and he has been leading our creator platform, which is for the low-code application platform, and then now he's heading our Saudi Arabia operation. So, so we started increasing the count because as we saw the good success in the first batch, so they are able to pick up, they are able to learn, and some things that they are able to learn faster. And so we started with development alone. Then we found that, why just development? Why not for business? Why not for design?
Yeah.
Why not for marketing? So then when we hire, we evaluate them based on their strength. Or once they come in, we also look at their strengths and then we suggest them to a right career path. And that's how it started. And now 15% of our employees are from Zoho schools.
So what's the aspiration for Zoho schools? As you said, 15% of your workforce now comes from Zoho schools. Do you intend to scale this up further, given the environment that we're in?
Yeah, see, we are spreading this in rural now. So that means, say, in all our rural offices, we are setting up our Zoho schools. So to tap the local rural talent there. And, so as I said, we want to keep things organic. That means, so we don't want to scale it for the purpose of scaling. So, because there is a natural evolution that happens and you want to leave it. Because, see, the whole teaching staff have to, we need to train them, we need to get them. So, that means there is a scaling of that too.
Yes.
So, in that case, so we want to keep it, because we want to focus more on the quality and not on the quantity.
Correct.
So and then
not scale just for the sake of scale. But, speaking of something, another interesting experiment which was much talked about, and I remember speaking to Sridhar during the COVID period when it was starting to sort of kind of build itself out, is your hub and spoke model, so to speak, with the spokes being in rural parts of India. How has that worked out for you? And now is there an effort to consolidate some of those spokes as well?
Yes, so the whole belief there is, how do we do research and development through rural development? Because for us, we don't separate this. So,
so R&D has a whole different meaning for Zoho.
Right? So, because nurturing talent has always been one of our important priorities, because we want to create an ecosystem here. We want to create a product ecosystem. We want to build the know-hows, whatever, for example, running the, infrastructure services, running the platform. So all the know-hows, if you can't build it by reading on a textbook, you have to do it to, so know it. So same way, now we want to do the same in rural areas. So what we started as is a lot of spoke offices, small spoke offices. Now in each of these regions, we are actually based on the number of people who have moved. So we have identified some of the hubs there. So which will actually, that's why there can be a Zoho schools there. If a spoke office only have 10 employees, then putting a Zoho schools will be not viable. Rather, you create one in Madurai, Kapalur, where we have more than 500, 600 employees now. Then putting a Zoho schools there makes sense. Same way, right? In near Coimbatore, so we have a 500, 600 seater there. So there again is Zoho schools. So in Tenkasi itself, we have 1,000 employees now. There is a Zoho schools. So that's how we are scaling it. And
so how many hubs do you envisage having?
Each district should have one. That's our
that's
aspiration.
The dream?
That's the dream. So, but then it all depends on how is our growth and how.
What's been the biggest challenge of creating these rural hubs, of doing this rural development or R&D Zoho style?
So the first anchor is the challenge, right? So that means somebody has to go there. Somebody has to make sure that it's their baby, and then they have to nurture this and make it workable, successful. So wherever we find people who are willing to move and then start there, we encourage them and then we help them in setting up. So again, there we want to go a natural, organic way, rather than saying, next year, 2 years, you'll be across all the board and then do it for the sake of doing, and then, right? So, and the first hub...
Is the chief scientist also going to now be the chief anchor to try these experiments across different hubs?
Yeah, definitely, right? See, he is the one who started this, and he sits in a hub. So he sits in actually a spoke within a hub. So because he prefers the spoke still, and in Tenkasi, where we have 1,000 engineers working from the office, and he has a small office in his own farm where he do a lot of R&D experiments, so across the board. So that means it's his vision and passion to build these two together, right? The rural and the research together.
Yeah. So as I said, R&D in a whole new
R&D,
definition,
yes.
a whole new definition. But what has been the biggest learning from Sridhar Vembu for you? I mean, you've kind of watched this company evolve. You've been part of it pretty much from its inception. But what has been the biggest learning for you from what he's been able to do, and more importantly, how he's been able to do it? Because you're both very different.
Yes. So see, one thing is the long-term thinking. So that means, right? Say, does he foresee what's right? Say the changes that comes in 10 years, and similarly, right? Say some of the insights, like say how markets consolidate, how right. So this kind of knowledge, that is something I learned from him, and then the whole management style. That means, say, how much giving autonomy to people can, and decentralizing things will end up in, like, right, say, creating so much more. That means, so how much that freedom helps in terms of creation. So those things, right, say, because those are all, like, say, his own ideas, and then say the models that he has followed, and seeing that, being part of it, enjoying that freedom, enjoying that space, then you definitely want to pass it on, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know whether at 20, if it is left to me, I would have followed the same management styles, or right, because we get inspired to learn something, right? So we have to first get inspired by something.
Yes.
And when you enjoy your freedom, and when you see that how we are able to, like, say, even the building everything internally. Because there used to be debates of, why don't we go to public cloud? Why don't we do this? Why don't we, right? But then that conviction, that understanding, the overall understanding, the big picture. So those are all the learnings I have from him.
One thing you haven't learned from him, though, is being on social media. You're far removed from the social media world. He's very active in the social media world. Is that a conscious decision on your part?
Yes. So I prefer to be a private person.
Only one Vembu should be on social media.
Yes. That's true.
One Vembu is enough, is it?
Yeah, one Vembu is enough, yes.
But, you're very different in the way that you fly under the radar, and you kind of, stick to your knitting, so to speak. So would you say that that's the big difference between the two of you?
See, to an extent, even Sridhar used to be like this way. So, right, say for 20 years, he was also, like, say, under the radar, building stuff, and then, right. So now, since a lot of things, a lot of these thoughts are more, because a lot of what he posts now, he used to post it 20 years back internally. For us, we know all these, right? Say why we have to build here, why we have to build the full stack, why we have to focus on long term, all those.
Yeah.
Now, since it feels that this knowledge has to be spread, so he is being very active. And
sometimes him being very active could get in the way of the company as well.
So being private, yes, we do get that freedom too.
It insulates you. Insulates you in that sense. But I've been walking around and looking at all your posts that are up here, and it seems to be obsessively on UX. I mean, literally every single poster up here is about improving the user experience, bettering the user experience. How do you create a user experience for the laziest customer, and so on and so forth? So are you UX obsessed personally?
Personally, yes. So I making products simpler is one of our focus, and then being at Zoho, we call ourselves a low-code native platform. That means, right? So the whole enterprise segment is dominated by developer-centric platforms, and we want to actually provide a lot of low-code tools. That means we want to our starting point is selling to a business team, a business user coming and using our product. That means we need to make it easy for them, right? So that's been our focus. And we also believe that in the long run, the UX is going to be the differentiator. Once everything commoditized, the differentiation is going to come from the user experience. How fast our product can be implemented, how fast a user can learn our product. So how do we reduce the learning curve to use our product or to customize our product? So that's where our focus has been. And we believe that that's going to be the differentiator. And being a low-code native, we want to also, since we target a different kind of users, and that's been our mode too. So we have brought in a new generation of users on top of our platforms. And that's why we want to also accelerate the next generation of creators. So in businesses, there are going to be a lot of tools that needs to be created. So it's not just these products. Then beyond this, there are a lot of tools that is required.
So what's next then for Zoho, both in terms of what you intend to put out into the market in terms of product, tools, etc., as well as the markets that you intend to address? Because as you said, there's no holding back on your global ambition or your global aspiration, right?
Yeah. So currently we are investing on AI and platform, embedding the AI into the platform, making the creation easier, faster, and democratizing the creation of apps and everything. And the next is some of the verticals we are focusing on. So in India, we are focusing on BFSI, auto DMS. Similarly, in each market, we identify our strength in different verticals and we are investing on those. So these are all the areas where you are investing. And then we are also looking at studying how vertical plus AI could play a vital role. So even with respect to our own Zia LLM, everything, we are looking at that angle too.
So, if you had a vision board, and I assume that there is a vision board somewhere in this large office, on this large campus, are there milestone numbers there? You've already achieved several milestone numbers, but are there milestone numbers that you have on that board that you foresee achieving over the next few years?
See, it won't be on numbers for sure, because we don't. Because we always believe...
You're not obsessed with numbers.
We believe that revenue is a byproduct.
Right.
If usage comes, revenue will follow.
So if revenue is a byproduct, what will be the milestone that you will use to measure your success over the next few years?
So the number of active users every month.
Okay.
Right? So on our platform.
So how many are there currently? How many do you believe you would need to get to?
So current numbers I want to, right? So
avoid.
Avoid. And so definitely if you ask me about the aspiration, then every business user who comes to a business, then they have to be active at least in a year within Zoho. So somewhere within Zoho, that's the aspiration. But reality is hundreds of millions of users, active users, right? So
hundreds of millions of active users over the next how many years?
Maybe that's all right. So we don't keep a end date to any of the targets. As far as it comes, keep trying.
Keep trying.
Yeah.
You have about 20,000 people globally at this point in time working for Zoho. Do you see that number increasing substantially, or do you believe because of AI, etc., the headcount is not going to see any kind of exponential growth in keeping with your ambition?
The customer-facing organization is going to grow because customers always need right, in terms of guidance, in terms of support, in terms of consulting, right? So best practices. So that means because every customer knows their environment well, but then knowing their market. So as a vendor, we supply to say 10 different customers in the same market. We know some of the trends. So that means we can actually guide them through those trends. And so that part is actually going to accelerate. I don't think, right? So AI is going to replace that or do that.
But will it replace the engineers?
Same way, right? Say already results are shown that it's only helping the senior engineers, and then, right? So it only makes them more productive, but not replacement is so far at least not an option. And the way we are looking at the creators is how do we embed the low code and the AI? So that means instead of generating code, which is very hard to read and follow, you generate UI screens. Then you can actually easily follow.
Yeah.
If AI makes any mistake, then you can actually correct it.
Right.
So you write the AI build with you rather than keeping you in the loop. while building, right? So that's what we are focusing on.
So the Zoho kurta is your style statement?
Yeah, so this is the first time after the event I'm wearing. So I really like the kurta. So
Is that what you feel most comfortable in?
yeah, definitely, yeah.
Well, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you and visiting you here at the Zoho campus. We wish you the very best of luck, and thank you so much for showing us around.
Yeah, thank you, Shereen. Thanks for coming. Thank you very much.
We wish you the very best of luck. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. From all of us here on the program, thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment with plenty more. Till then, goodbye.